morning.
Keep up with all the emails sometimes. Can you guys hear the leaf blower and the lawnmower and the? Do you hear the lawnmower behind me? Okay, good.
No.
It's all I can hear. It's the lawnmower.
Right. I hear somebody's chair scraping. I don't know what. I do hear. Do you hear that clanging and banging?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody off camera is bagging up the garbage or something. That's what it sounds like.
It was coming out of the Vic's household. He wasn't muted, but he turned his camera off, so I just muted his microphone. And now I heard it too. Now I don't hear it anymore, so it must have been there.
Good morning, Mary Ellen.
Good morning, my special friend, my dear Cantor.
Torahs are rolled for today and tomorrow.
You're so good. And we are live on YouTube. So when you start service, I'll just leave we'll do what we've been doing. So you can see everybody. I'll leave mine open. And
thank you so much. Mary Ellen leaves her computer on speaker view so that anyone joining over YouTube is just seeing the person who's speaking at any given time. But we need gallery view to see who's there. And
so. She needs to see who's raising their hand to read.
Just who's present, because I can't use my list of participants because we have some Saturday morning people who are here but aren't really here.
Well, I guess people, I don't know. Mine somehow I use my iPad Kindle for the service where I have the prayer book, and even though I have it on airplane mode, I still see a Marilyn's iPad screen in addition to my regular Zoom screen. And I can't figure out why, because my iPad shouldn't be connected to anything.
Right.
It's weird, but I know who it is every time it's coming in. I'm thinking, okay, she's opening her prayer book. Here she comes. I think that started happening 3 or 4 weeks ago, and you mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't know why, except,
It shouldn't, by all of the internet laws, be able to, on airport mode, connect to anything. But
I thought it was another Marilyn. I didn't know who that was.
I think it's me. But the thing is, I also have the portion for Torah study on there. And it was fine for most of everything. And then all of a sudden I noticed there it was. It's just weird. Yeah.
Well, it just came in, I think, when you opened your prayer book, because it was after Torah study ended that it came up.
No, that might be when you noticed it, but it had come on my screen sooner.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird.
Mary Ellen,
I'll try to explain it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes, I had trouble with one of my tablets not working, so I went and got another one. And then I couldn't hear the rabbi, so I was trying to get on to the first tablet that didn't work.
Probably better off not hearing them. I said that, so it's okay.
So I ended up booting the first pad that it never connected, but it was in the room trying to connect. So I booted it out because you were already connected on the other device.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't get, and then last night I couldn't even get it. It got to Zoom and it wouldn't open at all. And thank goodness I have a spare tablet, because I really hate getting on my computer because I feel isolated back in a bedroom on a computer. It's like I need more room. I need to look outside and look at nature and all that good stuff.
Mary Ellen, do you think you can you remove just the one that shows Marilyn's iPad?
I can boot it out of the room.
See what happens. If I'm gone, I'll re-enter.
It shouldn't, no, because you're two separate entities on here.
Okay, try to kick it out.
I used to tell Cantor, I'm horrified to remove somebody because does that mean we're removing them permanently and forever? And she discovered, no, it's just for that one meeting. So
Forever.
Well, if you see that come up, Mary Ellen, boot the other one out. It aggravates my little OCD nature to see that over there. Like, what is it?
As long as you know which one is the clone, Mary Ellen.
If there's
well, yeah, the clone is Marilyn's iPad.
because the real one is my face and moving. Someone was humming My Fair Lady.
Me.
Was that you?
It's me. It's me because Bernie Sims sent me a joke, and I will read it to you. And because of the severe, let's mute my part, please. Thank you. Because of the severe COVID-19 problem, the load of horseradish for the satyrs is stranded at Madrid airport. So unfortunately, the crane in Spain stays mainly on the plane. So now I'm over here going, the crane in Spain stays mainly on the plane.
You know, I got that too, and I knew that crane was some sort of a Yiddish word, but I didn't know what it was.
It's the bitter herb. It's
Yeah,
the bitter
okay.
herb. Yeah. and I'm moving back and forth between the rain in Spain. It's just that's what I'm doing on the Bima this morning until we get to Matovu and it knocks it out of my head.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we bag the traditional melodies and we can do the whole service with make the responses to the tunes of show tunes.
I would, but I need way more preparation than 1027.
I mean, you could do Matovu to the tune of, like something from Les Mis or King and I, or I mean, the possibilities are endless. I actually did that once in my first synagogue. I had this great cantor, Michael Anatole, and we used to have a lot of fun on the Bima. And he would do, this is the 70s, remember, so it was a different world. But he would do every Friday night when we just was in one of those moods. And the congregation went along with this. They liked it. He would do Adon Olam to a variety of different melodies, like Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, Simon and Garfunkel, or
I've always
stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. And I think the congregation preferred the Simon and Garfunkel to the to the traditional.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Our
okay.
band in Wellington.
Isn't a lot of the resistance to change among the old people?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, that's a myth. Yeah, are there some people who don't like? Yeah, but I am finding in my work a great openness to
Good.
thinking about new things and incorporating new things. Look how many baby boomers and older have embraced technology. And then, the word was, oh, they won't, it's 80 years old, can't learn. That's bull. It's all different. It's all different. It's another myth of the American ageist society. America is an ageist society, thinking that once you reach a certain age, you're incapable of doing anything new, learning anything new, or thinking anything new. And it's a huge, huge lie. Huge, huge lie. And it keeps me in business. So, so I'm very happy about it.
I'm glad to hear that.
So we have 2 minutes, a minute and a half. What time is it? 10:29. Okay. We can begin if you want. I mean,
So-
it's up to
we're
the
gonna-
cantor, really.
We're just gonna wait 2 minutes because my experience on Saturday mornings, once Mary Ellen hands over the waiting room to me, is that I will start singing and immediately someone starts to come into the room and I have to stop and go to the, and go be the tech person. So if we could wait just a couple more minutes, it would help me.
Listen,
Whenever you're ready, I'll
we can-
hang out.
we can wait an hour and a half if you want, and just go right to Shabbat Shalom.
How about to the wine?
Go right to the wine, skip the prayer, go right to, like leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Can we do that at the Seder too?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
I'll go ahead and mute you guys. I'll hang out for a couple of extra minutes and make sure people get in. Cantor.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm going to mute everybody now, and Cantor and Rabbi will unmute themselves, and we'll get going.
Maybe.
I have unmuted myself.
Are you unmuted?
I am unmuted. We are unmuted.
Well. Okay. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I hope everybody's souls are prepared for, you're getting ready for tonight. I know the Vicks are, look, there goes Tom. He's going to get some brisket. Make sure you brings enough for everybody. Something, y'all should go over to his house and knock on the door tonight and ask for some of that brisket. He's been talking about that brisket since for last night at services. But they probably heard that. Anyway, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Ed, how are you? How you doing?
Doing just fine, thank you.
Good,
Yeah.
good. That's coming in nice.
It's in,
Looking good. Very rabbinic.
not happening,
What?
not happening.
No, you never say never. Page 74, we greet Shabbat Hagadol, the great Sabbath, the Sabbath that precedes Pesach, with the traditional Ma Tova, or a melody of the cantor's choosing.
ואני ברוח פסך אבוא איתך אשכח בי אליך כל שכר יראתך מה טוב אוהלך יעקב, אוהלך יעקב, שכנותיך ישראל. אדוני אהבתי מאוד ביתך, ומקום משכן כבודך, ואני אשכח
So we'll continue on with the little book on page 77 and the big blue book on page 195. And this is one of the great morning blessings, the veins and arteries blessing, one of my favorite blessings Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins and arteries and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware. We would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar, umafli la'asot. We go to the next page 78, 196, for the Eloha Nishama.
Elohai, Elohai, Nishama, Shanatatavi, Tehorai. Elohai, Elohai, Nishama, Shanatatavi, Tehorai. Aberata, Hatayitzata, Hatanefakabi, Riata Mishamra, Mishamra Bikiri, Elohai, Elohai, Nishama, Shenatati,
And so the next page, on page 80 or 198, the traditional prayers in the morning, the Nisim B'chol Yom, the miracles of daily life, which take us through a variety of different rubrics. These are prayers of gratitude, which is a theme in Shabbat morning. So should I assume that the dynamic duo is ready to go?
Yes.
Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lesech vivina lehavchin ben yom uven laila.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sokev kefufihim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish aroni.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'ayef koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir shena me'enai u'uma me'af apai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'atzani b'tselem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otei Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
And on page 88 or 206, another one of the great morning prayers. We alluded to this at Torah study, the Ele Devarim prayer. These are the things that everybody must do. As a Jew, no questions asked. These are the things that everybody must do that are limitless, that we enjoy in this world. Honoring father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests and visiting the sick, providing for the wedding company and accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer and making peace amongst all people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all, just as we talked about last hour. Everything leads from the study of Torah. Page 100 in the little blue book, or 218 in the big blue book. Big, little, big. Anyway, we're going to meet with the cantor on Psalm 150.
And we're going with Ed's melody again today, but I haven't changed it for the, so we're still in that 3 instead of the 4 line.
Kol haneshama tehaleya, hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehaleya, hallelujah. Hallelujah, bekocho, hallelujah, bekiyazo, hallelujah, bigurata. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Rob Gudelo. Hallelujah. Betake Oshakai. Hallelujah. In heaven, hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Betokumahon. Hallelujah. B'milim be'odam. Hallelujah. B'titlei Shabbat. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. B'titlei Shabbat. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehaleya. Hallelujah.
And we'll continue on page 106 or 224 as we move into end the preparatory prayers and begin to move into the more public part of the service. And the line of demarcation, the boundary marker that tells us we move from one section to another, is the Chatzi Kaddish on 106. And we'll move right from, as usual, Chatzi Kaddish Baruch Hu Yotzer. Page 106 or 224. Bavakasha. Amen. (108) or 226. We rise in body or spirit for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or v'rei choshech, oseh shalom shalom v'rei hakol. Yotzer or v'rei choshech, oseh shalom shalom v'rei hakol.
Every once in a while, I think I've done this Saturday morning services with you. I try to bring you some additional readings outside the prayer book from this vast reservoir of scholars and poets and writers from the tradition that speak to things. So one of the things I want to offer you today is from a friend of mine who's actually done several podcasts with me, Alden Solovey, who's probably one of the leading liturgists and poets in contemporary Jewish life. He's based in Israel. And he's done a number of books. This is a meditation on these prayers between the Baruch and the Shema. Canterbury just chanted the Yotzer, which is the creation prayer. And so this is Alden's poem on the Yotzer, which I want to offer you before we do the Shema. This is the place where the beginning and the ending meet, where the vast sky greets the firmament of heaven, where the finite and the infinite touch, where the breathing in becomes the breathing out. This is the place where darkness meets the light, where morning surrenders to rejoicing, where what we are summons, what we may become, where all hearts beat together in joy. Oh, to see so clearly, oh, to live so gently, oh, to be so simply, to love so sweetly. This is the place where holiness can be held, where mystery shimmers and eternity shines, where the core of the earth burns with the fire of starlight, where majesty rises like the sun, its radiant, brilliant, luminous wonder. For creation, for the love which we share at this special moment in time of the year, when hopefully we will start becoming closer to each other and with each other, even perhaps tonight as we sit down, either in person or virtually, which leads to the Shema in the prayer book, but you know it. You may rise in body or spirit, and we join with the cantor in the Shema and then into the Ve'ahavta.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Amen. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto לעולם ועד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
You may be seated. The next rubric is the traditional Michamocha, which is, you know, this prayer, this song from Exodus, I think Exodus 5, that the children of Israel sang, very relevant to tonight and Passover and the retelling of the story. But this is a reading from a book I shared with you, I think, in last month, called Covenant of the Soul. It comes from Women of Reform Judaism. And this is a little reading that I thought would fit in nicely as we move into the Michamocha, which is a melody that talks about, in many ways, freedom. And for so many people still right now, they're enslaved to a whole series of emotions. And as we talked about a little bit in Torah study, one of the things that the tradition asks us, instead of perhaps sacrifice, is a sense of chesed, or compassion, or loving kindness. And this is a reading that speaks to that. It goes like, very short, goes like this. Please, dear God, let my heart ache. Ache for every child who is hungry, mistreated, neglected. Ache for every man whose burden is too heavy for his shoulders. Ache for every woman whose heart is breaking with life's sorrows. For every ill, oppressed, blind, or halt. Please, God, let my heart ache for the needs of others less blessed than I. Adonai, grant me endless compassion, that I may approach a little nearer to your perfection. Interesting meditation as we move to page 122 or 240 in the Michamocha. Page 124, 242, it's Tefillah.
Adonai, sefatai tiftachu v'yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'er HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Rekonei HaKol, V'locher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevig Ula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shema B'Ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh ha'kol atarav le'hoshia, Mashiv ha'ruach u'morid ha'gashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh ha'kol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melech, Melech memit umechayeh, Umahatzmiach Yeshua, V'neman atalachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto b'shmi marom, Kakatuv al-yad neviyecha, V'kara zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzilot, Melech ha'aretz, Kivodo. Adir Hadirenu, Adonai, Adoninu, Madir Shimcha b'chol ha'aretz, Baruch Kivod Adonai Mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu lehu Yashmienu, Rachamav le'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Imloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai hichzion, L'dor v'ador, Hallelujah. L'dor v'ador nagid God lecha, U'netzach netzachim kedushatcha nakdish, V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Page 132, 250.
Ismechu b'malachutecha, shomeri, 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 Shabbat v'korei, oleh Shabbat. Ismechu b'malachutecha, shomeri, 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 Shabbat v'korei, oleh Shabbat. Mekadoshei Shmi Shabbat, Kulam yizku, v'yitangu mitu lecha Shabbat. Ismechu b'malachutecha, Shomeri, shomeri, Shabbat. Umashmi רצית בו וקידשת שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. אשמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת בכל ערב שבת. אשמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת בכל ערב שבת. זכרי למעשה בראשית שבת. זכרי למעשה בראשית שבת. אשמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת בכל ערב שבת. אשמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת בכל ערב שבת.
So there's a metaphor, a symbolism, which you'll probably run across tonight, depending on which Haggadah you use, about Egypt as a symbol for really everything that holds us back from being who we really want to be. This is a prayer, again, from Alden's work, from a book called This Grateful Heart. And this is a meditation on Passover. So he uses this imagery of Egypt, and it's a beautiful, beautiful reading. So listen carefully and see if any of us relate to any of that he's talking about. This I confess. I have taken Egypt with me. I've kept myself a slave to grief and loss, fear and anger and shame. I have set myself up as a taskmaster, driving myself beyond the limits of reasonable time and common sense. I've seen miracles from heaven, signs and wonders in my life, yet I've taken Egypt with me, still waiting for heaven to speak. God of redemption, with your loving and guiding hand, leaving Egypt is easy. Leaving Egypt behind is a struggle. In your wisdom, you've given me this choice: to live in a tyranny of my own making, or to set my heart free to love you, to love your people, and to love myself. God of freedom, help me to leave Egypt behind, to hear your voice, to accept your guidance, and to see the miracles in each new day. Blessed are you, God of wonder. You set your people on the road to redemption. It's a pretty cool reading. And of course, the question is, how much of Egypt do we still have with us? Think about that tonight and tomorrow night as well. Page 140 or 258 is Sim Shalom.
Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Vein lachesed v'rachamim. Vein lachesed v'rachamim. Sim shalom, tova uracha. Sim shalom, tova Aleinu v'yakol Israel, Aleinu v'yako Israel, Amelcha, Sim Shalom, Tova Uracha, Sim Shalom, Tova Uracha, Sim Shalom, Tova Uracha, Sim Shalom, Tova Uracha.
And a few moments of personal, private prayer.
Say shalom limronah, uyase shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael, v'yimaru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, Yachol Yisrael. 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 Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, Yachol Yisrael.
We go now to page 244 or 362 in the big blue, 244 in the little blue. As we prepare to perform the ritual of Seder Kriyat Torah, the Torah service and the Torah reading for this portion of Torah Tzav, page 244 or 362 with the Ein Kamocha.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein k'ma'asecha. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimelach le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Ki mitzion et mitzvei Torah, Ki mitzion et mitzvei Torah, U'devar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Liamo Yisrael, Bikdushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai, Umelom Shemo Yachdav, Lecha Adonai Hagedula, V'Hagevura V'Hatiferet, V'Hanetzach V'Hahod, Ki Cho B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz, Ki Cho B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz, Lecha Adonai Hamalacha, V'Yamit Nahaser, Lechol Rosh.
Take a deep breath. Okay, so we continue on our journey through the book of Leviticus. And for those of you who are with us at Torah study, we unpacked some of this rather interesting and in many ways complex Torah portion that deals with various types of offerings, sacrifices, the guilt offering, the free will offering, the sin offering, all these offerings, the routines. We talked about this at great length. This is a poem. I found this from one of the Alden books, This Joyous Soul, that talks about exactly this Torah portion. And it's a good way to introduce this. It's called Sin Offering. And we talk a lot about this, obviously, on Yom Kippur and the Chet and the viduis of the confessions. But this is a modern take, very brief little commentary. I stand before you this day, God of old, to offer my sins as tribute to my humanity, to offer my repentance as tribute to my holiness. Teach me to cast off these sins, to make space for your radiance and light, to make space for my humanity and this holiness to meet in the core of my being, so that my soul may shine brighter, so that the works of my hands will praise your creation, so that my life will be a blessing in heaven and on earth. The theology there is very classic, and it really speaks to the Torah portion, the themes of the Torah portion, the theology of the Torah portion, that it's what we do, you see, that makes the difference, that the work of our hands, as Alden writes, the work of our hands, and reflect back to the Eloha Neshama and also the Eli Devarim prayer, and the veins and arteries prayer, that really what we do is we do it for a sense of holiness, so that we can stand, as one of the prayers that we read, stand in life before God. And this is a classic Jewish theology, regardless of the denomination, by the way, regardless of the denomination, whether you're coming from the Haredi movement in Williamsburg or from, in many ways, the humanist Jewish societies that are around the country. What we do with our life is not for us, but it's really a representation that places us in a relationship with something greater than ourselves, whatever you call that. And that allows us to move past this sense of self-worship to a sense of, as the Musar movement calls it, humility, anava, this idea that we are here, the work of our hands are to reflect this relationship that we have with something greater than ourselves. This very powerful teaching in Judaism. and in the world right now, we really need this kind of concept, that you get off this idea of self-worship and really move beyond the self into something greater. And part of that is in the liturgy tonight. Part of that is in the story of the Passover and what it means. So just a little bit of an interpretation from a modern poet and from classical Jewish theology. So why don't you all unmute if you can, if you want to, and we'll do the Torah blessings. And there's the Torah, and we're going to meet on Leviticus chapter 6, verse 1.
Is that the beginning of Tzav?
That is the beginning of Tzav.
Okay, great.
You got it. You got it. You got it. The beginning of Tzav. Sounds like a Netflix show, the beginning of Tzav.
Are you still watching Tzav?
Are you still watching Tzav?
Are you sure you're still watching Tzav?
This is not a Torah portion you want to binge on, though. It's kind of brutal. Although, as I said last night, the Vics have channeled this Torah portion because they're cooking that brisket. So they're doing exactly what this Torah portion says. I don't know whether, Tom, whether it's the guilt offering, the sin offering, or the free will offering that you're dealing with, but whatever it is, a nice offering, and I'm sure it's very delicious.
Oh, man.
Page 250 is where you'll find the Torah blessings if you have not memorized them from your bar or bat mitzvah. So all together now. 1, 2, 3. Baruch Hu Adonai Amvorah. Baruch Adonai Amvorah. Baruch
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Asher Bachar Banu Mikol
v'natan
Alanu et Torato
Baruch atah Adonai. Very good. Rock and roll. Excellent. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Sav et Aharon ve'et benav lemor. Zot Torat ha'olah hi. Ha'olah al mukdah. Al mizbeach. Kol halayla. Ad haboker. Ve'esh hamizbeach tukad bo. Stays eternal. And remember that commentary we talked about in Torah study, that this is also can be reflected about allowing the fire of kavanah to burn continually within the clergy. And it's the congregation's responsibility to keep that fire burning. Remember that next year. V'lavash hakohen mido bad, umich nesevad, yilbash al bisro, v'herim et hadeshen, asher tochal ha'esh et ha'olah al hamizbeach, v'samo etzel hamizbeach. Ufashat et habigadav, v'lavash bigadim acherim, v'hotze et hadeshen, el michutz l'machane, el mikom tahor, v'ha'esh al hamizbeach tukadbo. Again, the fire has to be eternal. Lo tichve uve'er alecha hakohen eitzim baboker va'erev aleha ha'olah v'chektir aleha chelvei hashlamim. These are instructions to keep the various sacrifices and offerings going. Eish, tamid, a perpetual or eternal fire. Eish is fire. To kad al mizbeach, shall always be on the altar. Lo tichbe, it should not be allowed to go out. 250, the blessing after the Torah reading. Everybody, Baruch atah Eloheinu melech
haolam, asher natan
Lanu et
no Torat emet v'chaye
Hey,
olam
olam natal
natam b'torcheinu. Everybody, Baruch
Baruch
atah Adonai
Notain
notein
HaTorah.
haTorah. All right, all right. Amen. You can start creating that new choir there. James, where do you go? You come back, James.
There he is.
Don't be afraid. Nothing's going to happen. And we have a beautiful view of your kitchen cabinet there.
push the wrong button. Sorry.
Story of my life, James. Story of my life. I keep pushing the wrong buttons too. As we mentioned last night, this is a tough time with the Mishaber prayer. There's so much going on. There's so much angst. The families who are in real mourning from Atlanta and Boulder, families who continue to mourn people who have lost through COVID. It is a time that really, and I think this Passover in many ways, because it's the second Passover in either Zoom Seders or semi-hybrid types. So we pray these prayers for healing for all of us and for society and for also people who take care of other people, the caregivers, doctors, nurses, and healthcare workers, and first responders, and people who really have fought this fight for over a year and who really just need our support and caring and love, as well as these people who we reflect and remember now and mention, who perhaps are in need of that refuah nefesh, the healing of a soul, the healing of a body, refuat haguf. Greg Alexander, Carol Babcock, Rosalie Teddy Bono, Cantor Joel Bressler, Dr. David Cassius, Tom Davis, Devorah Bat Rochel, Art Fields, Amanda Jeremita, Jim Grant, Mary Hartman, Robert Kay, Mike Latenick, Marilyn Levitt, Teresa Levy, Barbara McDonald, Moshe David Bedieta, Gary Nadler, Naomi Nagel, David Osofsky, Laura Osofsky, Buddy Pollock, Jean Posen, Joyce Racklin, Randall Rout, Sandra Reznikoff, Alex Rosen, Stephanie Sibilia, Ruthie Silver, Ron Sohn, Bernice Tobias, Lois Van Alsten, David Van Alsten, Ruth Van Alsten, Judy Van Gorder, Michael Balsam, Dr. Daniel Gottlieb. And we add any other names, Cantor, that you have?
Well, on Saturday mornings, we can unmute. If anybody has names to add, please go ahead and share them with us.
Rob Sternberg, Anna Kaufman,
Chantel Norman.
To these names that we have spoken in public, to the names that we continue to hold in our hearts in the recesses of our own souls, please join with Cantor Barry in the Mishaberach.
May the source of strength
bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Bless those in need of healing with the renewal of
body, the renewal of spirit.
As we begin to return the scroll to the ark, and we'll move directly from the Vizot HaTorah, which you'll find on 252, to the Etz Chaim, and then to the Aleinu and the Venet Amar. The Aleinu will be on 282, but all of you, I think, know this. Let me do one thing that I would love to see more and more congregations reintroduce this tradition. This is a Mishaberach. You know, we have these blessings, Mishaberach prayers. He who blessed, may blessing, for a variety of things. When good things happen with people, when something nice happens, we say a Mishaberach, not only for healing, but for all kinds of things. So all of you participated in the Aliyah. All of you were called to the Torah, in essence, even virtually. So this is a lovely blessing, and it's on page 252 of the prayer book, or 370 in the big blue. But you don't have to worry about it. You can look it up. This is a Mishaberach for people who are called to the Torah, to do an Aliyah, as all of you were. Listen to the words. We'll do this in English. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless all of you who have come and given a blessing for the Torah, in honor of God and the Torah. May all of you merit from the Holy One blessing, protection, rescue from any trouble or distress, and from any illness, minor or serious. May God send blessings and success to every one of your endeavors, together with all of Israel. And we say, Amen. You know something? It's not a bad blessing in this day and age. You did a mitzvah. You said the blessing before and after the Torah. So a little blessing of saying, you know, thank you. And may the work of what I'm doing be good and keep me from illness and a lot of bad stuff. It's not such a bad idea, especially as we're preparing for Pesach. So with that little thing, think about it, you know, as you move forward into more ritualizing Shabbos morning and in the middle of April, and we're starting to do that. And even next year, it's not such a bad idea. Everybody can use a little Mishaberach every once in a while. Or as they say, friends of mine, it couldn't hurt. No, couldn't hurt. The Vizot HaTorah, I ask you to please rise. And remember, we'll stay, if you can, either body or spirit, through the Aleinu on 282 and the Venet Amor.
Vizot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. The mantle's giving me some trouble today. Etz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba retov meher mevushar yiracheha darcheino v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuv Hadish Hadish Yameinu Keketem. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גאולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Yeah.
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed from this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and of loss, of life and of death. Let's recall those from this congregation for whom we are observing Shaloshim, Lois Zahar, Howard Enzel and Carol Brody, those for whom we are observing the anniversary of their passing on this Shabbat, Dr. Michael Albin, Martin Asher, Isaac Baer, Beverly Benjamin, Michael Berkey, Mary Block, Natalie Bloom, Bernard Cohn, David Cooperman, Rosalind Finger, Mary Friedman, Beulah Goldman, Charlotte Goldstein, Dr. Albert Green, Dale Jean Hadson, Daniel Jacobson, Dr. Thelma Jones, Stanley Kaplan, Rose Dubinsky Karp, Simon Kessler, Edith Klein, Beatrice Lazin, Solomon Lubeau, Arthur Munster, Joe Newman, William Nortman, Selma Alesker, Annette Marco Pennon, Josina Van Boven Podharzer, Sam Siegel, David Silver, Harold Silver, Philip Silverstein, Yetta Manis Spirit, Samuel B. Spira, Julius Teitelbaum, Simpson Robert Walker Sr., Jack Yanoff. Any names that you would like to bring forward at this time? For these we have named in public. For those we continue to hold in our hearts. On page 294, as a community, we rise in respect and pray together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemir Rabba, v'yoma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechona v'yomechona v'chayedikol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shemir Rabba mevarach v'olam olamei olamayach, yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalo Shemir Kudashah Brichu. Le'elo min kol birchata v'shirata tushvadecha b'nechamata. Damiram b'yama v'imru. Amen. Yehi shalomo rabba min shemaya. V'chaylim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bin mamav. Huya aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracham. May their memories continue to be a source of blessing and inspiration as we say together, Amen. You may be seated. Just a few announcements that I know. Tomorrow, services for the first day of Passover at 10:30. Congregational Zoom Seder, back to Zoom land, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Services for the conclusion of Passover next Shabbat, Friday night, Shabbos morning, 10:30 for the which will include, as is traditional, a small Yisker service towards the back end of the service. What am I forgetting? Any other major announcements? Cantor, do you?
Just that congregational meeting on this coming Tuesday night
right.
to ratify Rabbi Maya Glasser's contract.
Okay. We have the close. Are you doing Ein Keloheinu or a medley of your greatest Passover hits CD or whatever?
Oh, I'm happy with an Adon Olam today.
Adon Olam is fine. Adon Olam is you can never go wrong with an Adon Olam. An oldie but goldie, a classic.
I have that French Sephardic version in front of my face right now, and
muy bien, très bien, très bien.
Yes, we sang this one last Saturday, but I love it. We're gonna do it again. Adon Olam Asher Mala B'terem kol yetziriva Ve'eina Savich Soko Azayin Melech Shemo Nikra Azayin Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'achanei Kiflotacho Ve'vado Yimlok Torah Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Ove Ve'hu Yiyeh B'tifara Ve'hu Yiyeh B'tifara Ve'hu Echad V'yein Sheni Ve'am Shilo Le'hafira Ve'direi Ve'litari Elohahot Ve'hamikra Elohahot Ve'hamikra Ve'hu Eini Ve'chai Koali Ve'tzur Chavli Ve'yei Sara Ve'hu Nisi U'manosli Ve'nad Kosi Ve'yom Echra Ve'nad Kosi Ve'yom Echra Yadu Achimuchi Ve'eiti Shan Ve'ayira Ve'imruchi Geviyati Adonai Li Ve'lohira Adonai Li Ve'lohira.
Okay. Très bien. Très bien. I don't know any Ladinos, so I'll just throw in the little French I know. May we. Motzi, do we have a challah floating around or a glass of wine? If not, we'll do it symbolically. So if you would grab a symbolic glass of wine and just repeat after me, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. And hopefully it's not Manischewitz blackberry, which is horrible stuff. I mean, don't ever use that stuff, except to make charosis. And by the way, if you get stuck tonight at Seder and you want to get the conversation going, just ask this question. Somebody asked me this the other day. It was great. What's your favorite thing to put on a piece of matzah? Just to see what people come up with. And speaking of matzah, and for those of you who have your bread, if you have that piece of bread, that last piece of bread for the next week is waiting for you when you get done praying. I see Lori's face lighting up. She's trying to figure out whether it's rye or sourdough or pumpernickel or good old fashioned challah left over from last night, as Cantor Barry's challah from last night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. You are completely blessed. Shabbat shalom. Thank you, Cantor. Thank all of you. Have a wonderful Seder tonight. See you tomorrow, 10:30 for services, 6 o'clock for Seder. Stay safe. Stay well.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Rabbi, I have a quick question.
Shabbat shalom.
Tomorrow morning, are we starting at Vayisu Me Ramses Sukkota? Like they journeyed from Ramses to Sukkot. That's where it starts, right? And
I'm having trouble hearing you.
So I have the Torah at Exodus 12 where it says that the Israelites journeyed from Ramses to Sukkot. May Ramses Sukkota.
Right,
I think that's the right spot, right?
right.
Okay, just checking.
Yes.
We are rolled.
Well, rock end. Bye-bye.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Enjoy tonight. Have a good Seder, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.